Remarried, the server number 3, Assassin I Switch, Part 2.
Chapter 5. Teeth Campus Convenience Store was a neon beacon in the dead of night. The hum of the refrigerator units was the only sound. I walked to the coffee section, clutching my usual Maxim Gold Freeze. It was cheap, sugary, and full of enough caffeine to kill a small horse. I turned the corner to the register and nearly slammed into someone. Oof, sorry, I froze. Professor Vance was standing right there. She wasn't wearing her armor, her tailored suit. She was wearing a black turtleneck and gray sweatpants. She looked human, but the aura? That was still there. The temperature in the aisle seemed to drop 5 degrees just because she existed. She looked down at me. Her icy blue eyes scanned my face, then dropped to the cheap coffee in my hand. It felt like being scanned by a high-level boss mob. Miss Co, she said. Her voice was calm, terrifyingly smooth. Professor. I squeaked, my grip tightening on the can. Late night? Coding requires fuel, she murmured. She didn't move out of the way. We were standing close. Too close for a student and a professor. I could smell her perfume, something cool and sharp, like ozone. She reached past me. Her arm brushed against my shoulder, sending a jolt of static through my hoodie. I stopped breathing. She picked up a drink from the shelf right behind me. It was an iced Americano. The expensive kind. The one with the extra espresso shot. The exact same icon Zero had used in the chat. My brain stalled. No, I thought. Coincidence. Half the campus drinks that stuff. She straightened up, holding the fancy coffee. She looked at my sugary drink, then back at my eyes. A tiny, almost imperceptible smirk played on her lips. Though I questioned the octane rating of that sugar water, she said softly, I work better at night, I stammered, my heart hammering against my ribs. Was she mocking me? Or teasing me? A common trait among developers, she said, stepping closer. She leaned in just a fraction. Her voice dropped an octave. And predators. My breath hitched. Predators? Did she know? The way she looked at me, it wasn't just a teacher looking at a student. It was intense, calculating, like she was reading my source code. Don't stay up too late, Miss Co, she whispered, pulling back. Efficiency drops after 3 a.m. She turned and walked to the counter, her movements precise and fluid. The automatic doors slid shut behind her, leaving me alone in the buzzing silence of the store. I stood there for a solid 10 seconds, my face burning. Predators. There was no way. Professor Vance was a distinguished academic. She probably spent her nights writing papers on quantum computing, not ganking raid bosses in a vermo, but for a second there. I swore she looked at me like I was loot. I paid for my drink and ran back to the dorms. System, welcome back, player. I logged back in. My character was still sitting at the forge entrance. Zero was waiting. She was leaning against an anvil, sharpening her daggers. You're late. The text bubble appeared. Latency? Ran into a boss monster in real life. I typed back, taking a sip of my coffee. My hands were still shaking a little. Did you win? I survived. Barely. Acceptable. Trade. Zero opened a trade window. She dropped the heart of the arbiter into the slot. Then she added more. Void steel ingot x10. Essence of shadows x5. My jaw dropped. Zero. These mats are worth more than my tuition. I can't pay you back. I don't want gold, she replied. I told you. I need a gunner who can keep up. Craft it. I took the materials. I opened the crafting menu. I selected the custom rifle blueprint. Most players just clicked craft and prayed to the RNG gods. I didn't. I watched the server tick. I watched the mana flow indicator on the Forge UI. I waited for the frame data to align. Tick, tick. Now? I slammed the enter key. The Forge roared. Violet light exploded from the anvil, blinding the other players in the crafting hall. A system announcement rolled out, not server-wide, just local. But it was enough. System? Success. Legendary item created. I looked at the stats. Weapon. Runtime error rank. Legendary growth type damage. Scales within. Special effect. Glitch every 4th shot ignores collision detection and armor. Description. Efficiency does not negotiate with physics. It was beautiful. A sleek matte black rifle that looked like it was made of code and shadows. It made the black logic look like a water gun. Equip it. Zero ordered. I did. My character held the rifle. It hummed with power. Better. Zero typed. Now we farm. We spent the next 3 hours in the Deadlands. It was a massacre. With runtime error, I didn't just kill mobs, I deleted them. The glitch passive triggered constantly, shooting through shields, through walls, through trees. Zero pulled the mobs. I ended them. We fell into that rhythm again. That flow state. Ping, stun, ping, headshot, ping, coffee sip. It was the most fun I'd had in Chronos into years. I tabbed out for a second to change my playlist. Minho's stream was still live. He looked rough. He was standing in the Golden Era Guild Bank. His face was red. What do you mean error for 04? He was shouting at his screen. Open the potion tab. Yuna's voice whined from the speakers. Appa, I can't find the mana potions. The auto sword isn't working. Everything is just mixed together. I watched as Minho clicked the sort inventory button. Nothing happened. He clicked it again, harder. System error. Script bank manager v2 pi not found. Who deleted the script? Minho screamed. Call Jay. Tell him to fix it. Yuna paused. But you blocked him and told everyone he was a thief. Minho stared at the camera. The realization hit him in slow motion. The bank script wasn't a game feature. It was my feature, and without the daily security token I used to input manually, the script had expired. The Golden Era inventory, thousands of items worth billions of gold, was now a chaotic, unsorted dump. Swords mixed with trash loot. High-level potions hidden under piles of goblin teeth. I smirked. Runtime error. I whispered to my monitor. I tabbed back to the game. Zero was standing over a pile of dead elites. Ready for the next pull? She asked. I racked the bolt on my new rifle. Always, I typed. Chapter 6. 4 days later, the Golden Era Guild wasn't just messy. It was broke. I was chilling in the auction house, running a background skin on market prices, when I saw the notification pop up in the global trade chat. Trade Emperor. Wanna buy Resurrection Stone X50, paying 20% above market price. DM. Me. I raised an eyebrow. 20% above market? That was desperate. Resurrection stones were essential for raids. Usually, I farmed about 100 of them a week and stocked the guild bank. Since I left, well, I guess their supply ran dry, and considering how often Yuna died on stream, they probably burned through their reserves in a day. I checked the auction house listings. There were 0 stones available. Why? Because I was usually the one listing them. And since I was busy farming with 0, the market supply had crashed. Supply and demand, I muttered. Taking a bite of my kimbap, I opened my inventory. I had 200 stones sitting there. I could list them, help out the server economy. But efficiency works both ways. I listed 1 stone. Price, 500 gold. Normal price, 50 gold. Seconds later. System, your item Resurrection Stone has been purchased by Player Emperor. I blinked. He actually bought it? He must be desperate. The big tournament was coming up, and he needed to level up Yuna fast. I listed another 1. Price, 600 gold. System, your item Resurrection Stone has been purchased by Player Emperor. I smirked. Okay, let's test the elasticity of this demand curve. I listed 10 stones. Price, 1,000 gold each. There was a pause. Then, a furious message in global chat. Global Emperor, who is scalping the stones? This is market manipulation. I'm reporting you. But he bought them anyway. System, your item Resurrection Stone X10 has been purchased by Player Emperor, plus 10,000 gold. I watched my coin balance tick up. It was poetic. The money he saved by firing me and giving me that pathetic severance package, he was now handing it right back to me, piece by piece, just to survive basic gameplay. 0. I typed into our party chat. You want anything from the cash shop? I don't need cosmetics. 0 replied instantly. She was, as always, lurking somewhere nearby. My treat. Just made a quick profit. From who? An investor with per risk assessment skills. 0 didn't ask further. Instead, she pinged a location on the map. The Grizzly Woods. A rare elite just spawned. It drops a guild renaming scroll. I paused. A renaming scroll? Minho had been talking about rebranding Golden Era to Team Pinky or something equally horrific. If he got that scroll. On my way, I typed. We got there first. Obviously. Minho and his entourage arrived 5 minutes later, panting and undergeared. They saw 0 standing over the dissolving corpse of the bear. Hey, Minho shouted. That was our mob. We tracked it. 0 didn't even look at him. She just picked up the loot. Guild renaming scroll acquired. Minho's face turned purple. Sell that to me. I need it for the brand launch. Zero turned her helmeted head toward me. Jay, do we need this? Nope, I typed. Useless to us. Then we delete it, Zero said, and right there, in front of Minho's horrified eyes, she dragged the legendary scroll out of her inventory and dropped it onto the ground. Items dropped on the ground to spawn in 60 seconds. No. Minho lunged for it, but item ownership was locked to the party that got the kill. He couldn't pick it up. He could only watch it float there, mocking him. You're crazy. Yuna screeched. That's worth real money. Efficiency, Zero typed, turning her back on them. Trash data should be cleared from the cache. We walked away as Minho fell to his knees, frantically trying to grab the intangible scroll before it vanished. I didn't look back, but I did screenshot it, for the portfolio. Chapter 7, the University Cyber Games were only 2 weeks away. This wasn't just some game tournament. The computer science department was sponsoring it. The grand prize? The Future Tech Grant, a full-ride scholarship that totally replaced standard financial aid. For Minho, it was just an ego boost. For me, it was survival. Minho's dad sat on the board of my current scholarship fund. If Minho actually went through with his threats, I'd lose my funding. Winning this thing was the only way to secure my degree without relying on their money. I needed to practice bad. My dorm internet was acting up. Latency spikes were hitting 50 ms, which was a disaster for the runtime error build. So, I packed my gear and headed straight to the campus sports center. The place was fancy. Rows of high-end PCs, neon lights everywhere, and the smell of energy drinks in the air. I found a corner booth in the back, far away from the League of Legends crowd screaming at their monitors. I plugged in my custom keyboard. The Black Logic, the keyboard version. I built it myself. Heavy switches, silenced keys, no RGB nonsense. Just a matte black slab of pure input speed. My baby. I logged in. Welcome, Player J. I started running aim drills. Click, clack, click. My fingers flew. On screen, targets popped and vanished instantly. My rifle was a blur. Whoa, look at that APM. I tensed up. Someone was watching. I kept my head down, hoodie up, hoping they'd just leave me alone. Hey. Excuse me? A hand tapped my shoulder. I froze. I knew that voice. The slick, arrogant tone. I turned around slowly. Minho was standing there. He wasn't looking at my face. He was staring at my monitor. Specifically, at the character name in the top left corner. J. And the weapon. Runtime error. His eyes went wide. Comically wide. He looked from the screen to my keyboard. Then back to my face. J. He whispered. I adjusted my glasses, my heart hammering against my ribs. Can I help you? I asked, keeping my voice quiet. Minho took a step back, looking like he'd seen a ghost. You're a girl? I'm a student trying to study, I said, reaching to Alt F for the game. And I never said I was a guy. You just assumed. No, wait. He grabbed my wrist. That's Jay's account. I know that HUD layout. I know that. That keyboard. He stared at the Black Logic. You built this. You told me about it. 2 years ago. I pulled my hand away. Don't touch me. Minho's shock turned into something ugly. A sneer curled on his lips. Jisoo, he said, reading the name on my student ID lanyard. The quiet girl in the computer science class. The one who never talks. He laughed. A short, disbelief-filled bark. You played me. For 2 years you played me. I carried you. I corrected him, my voice turning cold. There's a difference. You let everyone think you were a guy. He hissed, leaning in close. You let me call you bro. You let Yuna mock you. You catfished me. It's fraud. Minho's voice rose, and people started looking. You deceived a guild master. You stole guild resources. That severance money? You took it under false pretenses. I earned every coin, I said, standing up. I wasn't tall, but I didn't back down. And I'm leaving. If you walk out, Minho whispered menacingly. I go to the dean. I stopped. What? The scholarship committee, Minho grinned. My dad pays the bills there. If I tell them you've been running an online scam, using a fake identity to steal money from students, catfishing, that's a lie. It's a story, Minho shot back. And who are they gonna believe? The rich donor's son? Or the weird scholarship kid who plays video games in the dark? My blood ran cold. He knew exactly where to hit. My scholarship was my life. What do you want? I asked. Minho leaned back, crossing his arms like he'd already won. Simple. You delete the account. What? Delete Jay. Delete the gun. Delete the gold. Wipe it all. He stepped closer. And then, you apologize to the guild, publicly, on the forum. Admit that you deliberately crashed the bank inventory. Say you were jealous. Say you lied. I stared at him. He didn't want the gold back. He wanted to erase the evidence. He wanted to erase the fact that a girl had been better than him for 2 years. You have 24 hours, Minho said, checking his fancy watch. Or I make a phone call. He turned and walked away, whistling. I sat back down in the chair. My hands were trembling. I looked at the screen, at Jay. My hard work, my hours, my escape. Delete it. I reached for the keyboard, but I didn't type delete. I opened the party chat. Jay, 0, 0. Target down. What is your status? Jay, I found a bug. A big one. 0. Location? Jay, Earl. It's threatening to crash my system. There was a pause. 0. Efficiency does not negotiate with bugs, JJ. I note 0. You delete them. I stared at the text. Delete them. I looked at Minho's retreating back. He thought he had admin privileges in this server. He was wrong. I cracked my knuckles. Challenge accepted. Chapter 8. The university auditorium was packed. Like fire hazard level packed, the Future Tech Cyber Games was the biggest event of the semester. Giant LED screens hung from the ceiling, blasting dubstep so loud I could feel it in my chest. I stood backstage, holding my keyboard case like a shield. My heart was doing flips. Not because of the crowd, but because Minho was standing 10 feet away with his team. And wow, what a team. Minho had hired ringers. 4 diamond rank players from a semi-pro league. They were all wearing matching gold jerseys with Team Emperor printed on the back. Minho saw me. He smirked, adjusted his headset, and walked right over. You actually came, he laughed. Bold move. Jisoo, did you bring your apology letter? Or are you just here to get humiliated before I call the dean? I squeezed the black logic tight. I'm here to play. Play? By yourself? He pointed at the empty space next to me. It's a 5v5 tournament, genius. Even if the rules allow smaller teams, you're walking into a firing squad. The announcer's voice boomed over the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the finals. We walked onto the stage. The lights were blinding. Minho waved to the crowd. Yuna was in the front row, holding a Team Emperor sign and live streaming the whole thing. I sat down at my station on the far left. It felt pretty lonely. Just me, my hoodie, and my keyboard. The crowd was murmuring. Where's her team? Is she throwing the game? Wait, isn't that Jay? The mute guy? I looked at the empty chair next to me. 0 wasn't online. She hadn't messaged me back since that challenge accepted text. Was I really doing this solo? Minho grabbed a microphone from the MC. He really loved the sound of his own voice. Hey everyone, he said, flashing a winning smile. Before we start, I just want to say, it's sad when players don't respect the spirit of the game. My opponent here, he pointed at me, has been scamming the community for years. And today, I'm going to put an end to it. The crowd booed. My face burned. He was actually doing it. He was going to ruin me before the game even started. Disqualify her. Someone shouted from the back. Probably one of Minho's frat brothers. I agree. Minho nodded, looking all serious. Unless she has a partner, she's breaking the rules anyway. Ref? The referee looked uncomfortable. Well, technically, the rulebook says a team needs at least 2 players to register. Since she's solo, then she forfeits. Minho grinned. Game over. Jisoo. I looked at the exit. Maybe I should just run. Save my scholarship. Click, click, click. The sound of sharp heels on the stage floor cut right through the dubstep. The crowd went quiet. A figure walked out from the shadows. She wasn't wearing a jersey. She was wearing a sharp charcoal gray blazer, a black turtleneck, and terrifyingly expensive heels. She carried a sleek military-grade gaming laptop under one arm. Minho froze. Professor Vance? My jaw hit the floor. Professor Diana Vance walked right past him. Didn't even look at him. She walked straight to my station, pulled out the empty chair next to me, and sat down. I stared at her, my brain completely short-circuiting. Professor? I whispered, my voice squeaking. What are you doing? Are you shutting down the event? Diana didn't look at me. She opened her laptop and plugged in a mouse that looked like it cost more than my tuition. Shutting it down? She murmured, adjusting her headset. No, miss. CO. I'm logging in. Logging in? On the giant screen behind us, player to connected. The name appeared in bold letters. 0 rank. Number 3 assassin. Me eyes widened so much they hurt. I looked at the screen, then at the professor, then back at the screen. You. I stammered. Diana finally looked at me. A tiny, almost invisible smirk played on her lips. Eyes on the screen, partner, she whispered. We have bugs to delete. Suddenly, a ripple went through the crowd. Phones were held up. Yuna's live stream chat, visible on the side monitors, was scrolling so fast it was a blur of colors. Wait, 0 is the professor? A woman? And J is the quiet girl? That means, system reminder, Player 0 and Player J entered a sacred union yesterday. Wait, so they are a woman couple? Oh my god, GL confirmed. Screw Emperor, I stand the queens. The realization hit the entire server like a shockwave. The sacred union everyone thought was a weird glitch or a stat boost strategy was actually perfect. Minho laughed nervously. Professor, come on. This is a joke, right? You teach algorithms. You don't play Chronos. Diana looked at him. It was the same look she gave students who failed their midterms. Mr. Park, she said coolly into her microphone. You're confusing playing with calculating. And I am excellent at calculus. She turned to the referee. Section 4, paragraph B. Teams may consist of university faculty and students. Are we ready? The referee gulped. Yes. Yes, professor. Diana nodded. Good. Then, let's begin. Chapter 9. The map was Neon City. A vertical nightmare of skyscrapers, jump pads, and narrow alleyways. Perfect for an assassin. Terrible for a tank. Minho's team spawned on the south side. Stick together. Minho yelled over the voice comes. Focus the professor. She's a noob. She's probably using a trackpad. I spawned on the north side. Diana was already gone, vanished into stealth before the match timer even hit 0. Match start. Minho's team moved in a tight group. Shield tank in front, healers in back. Standard. Boring. J, take the high ground. 0's voice whispered in my ear. It was surreal hearing Professor Vance's cool academic voice giving me raid callouts. I grappled up to a billboard. I looked through the scope of runtime error. I saw Minho's head peeking out from behind his tank's shield. Tick, tick, glitch. The 4th shot passive was ready. Bang. The bullet didn't care about the shield. It phased right through the tank's barrier and slammed into Minho's helmet. Critical hit. Emperor HP. 50. Hacker. Minho screamed. She shot through the shield. Ref. Physics engine exploited, Diana murmured. Engaging. Suddenly, the lights in the game map flickered. 0 dropped from the sky. She didn't go for Minho. She went for the healers. Slash. Dash. Slash. 2 pro players dropped in less than a second. Their screens turned gray. What the hell? One of the pros yelled. I couldn't even target her. Her hitbox is glitched. It wasn't a glitch. It was frame data. She was moving in the 0.1 second gaps between their server pings. Now it was 2 versus 3. Minho panicked. Retreat. Get inside the building. He ran into a warehouse. Bad move. Warehouses have echoes. And I have a headset. I wall ran along the adjacent building, slid through a window, and landed on the catwalk above them. I had the Black Logic singing. My fingers were a blur. Headshot. The tank went down. Headshot. The last pro player went down. Minho was alone. He stood in the center of the warehouse, spinning his camera wildly. Where are you? Face me like a man. 0 materialized from the shadows directly in front of him. She slowly sheathed her daggers. She didn't attack. Miss CO. Diana's voice rang out in the quiet auditorium. Would you like to do the honors? I dropped down from the catwalk. I didn't shoot him immediately. I reached for my desk. In real life, I picked up my Iced Americano. The camera zoomed in on my face. The giant screen showed me taking a calm, long sip of coffee. The crowd went absolutely wild. I put the cup down. I placed one hand on the keyboard. Just one hand. Minho charged at me. Die. I tapped 3 keys. Sidestep. Flashbang. Ultimate. My character spun, kicked Minho into the air, and unloaded a full clip into him before he hit the ground. Runtime error triggered twice. Minho's avatar exploded into pixels. Victory Team 0 and J. I sat back, adjusting my glasses. Bug fixed, I said quietly into the microphone. Chapter 10. Silence in the auditorium lasted for about 3 seconds. Then, it exploded. Students were cheering. People were chanting J, J, J. Minho stood up from his booth, ripping off his headset. His face was a mask of pure rage. This proves nothing. He screamed into his microphone, his voice cracking. She cheated. And she's a thief. She stole millions from my guild. The crowd quieted down, looking confused. Professor Vance stood up. She picked up her laptop and walked to the center of the stage. She took the MC's microphone. Mr. Park, she said, her voice sounding totally authoritative. You seem very fond of making accusations. Perhaps we should look at the evidence. What evidence? Minho scoffed. You can't prove anything. I am a security consultant for the university network, Diana said calmly. And I have the audio logs from the esports center security system from 2 days ago. Don't worry. The dean approved the review. She clicked a key on her laptop. A jagged waveform appeared on the main screen. Minho's voice boomed through the speakers, tinny but unmistakable. If you walk out, I go to the dean. My dad is a donor. I'll ruin you. The auditorium gasped. Minho turned pale. That's taken out of context. I was just negotiating. Diana raised an eyebrow. Negotiating? It sounded remarkably like blackmail and academic intimidation. She turned to the judge's table. This constitutes a violation of the university's code of conduct. I will be filing a formal report with the dean immediately. Minho looked at his team. The pro players were already packing up, shaking their heads. He looked at Yuna. Yuna was holding her phone, live streaming herself. Guys, I just want to say, I had no idea Minho was like this. I'm officially leaving Golden Era. Team J all the way. Minho slumped into his chair. It was over. His brand, his guild, his reputation, deleted an hour later. The sun was setting over the campus, painting the sky in deep purples and oranges. I sat in Professor Vance's office. It was quiet here. The walls were lined with heavy books and academic awards. Diana, I couldn't call her professor anymore, not in my head, but Zero felt wrong too, was sitting at her desk, typing. The door was locked. The chaos of the tournament felt a million miles away. Minho has been placed on academic probation, she said, without looking up. And his father has been informed. The board wasn't happy about their name being dragged into a blackmail scandal. Your scholarship is safe. I let out a breath. I'd been holding for 2 weeks. My shoulders finally relaxed. Thank you, really. You didn't have to do that. You risked your reputation playing with a student. Diana stopped typing. She closed her laptop with a soft click. She stood up and walked over to the mini fridge in the corner. She pulled out 2 cans. Iced Americano. She slid one across the desk to me. I didn't do it for charity. Jisoo, she said. Her voice was softer than I'd ever heard it. Less ice witch, more human. I did it because you're my partner. I took the coffee. It was cold against my palm. Grounding. Partner. I repeated. The word hung in the air. So, does this mean we keep farming? The abyssal floor just opened up. I heard the drop rates are terrible. Diana leaned against her desk, crossing her arms. She looked at me, really looked at me, in a way that made my pulse spike. The abyssal floor can wait, she said. Oh? Do you have another quest? Yes. She nodded slowly. The Eternal Hearts event finals. We are currently leading the leaderboard, thanks to our sacred union. My face went hot. Like, CPU overheating hot. I gripped the coffee can. Right, the union. We did that for the stats. Diana stepped closer. Just a step, but the air in the room seemed to charge with static. Correct, she murmured. A small, genuine smile melted the Ice Witch mask completely. However, maintaining maximum synergy requires offline coordination. It would be inefficient not to debrief. Debrief? Dinner, she clarified softly. There's a barbecue place downtown. Excellent efficiency. High protein. I stared at her. My brain stopped working. Wait, are you saying? Because we're married in game, we should probably eat together in real life, Diana finished, her eyes sparkling with amusement. It's a loophole in the faculty handbook. Dining with teammates is permitted. A loophole, I breathed. Unless you'd prefer to stay here and discuss algorithm optimization? She teased, her eyes sparkling. No, I blurted out. Then I coughed, trying to regain some dignity. I mean, no, dinner is good. Dinner is efficient. Diana laughed. It was a beautiful, low sound. Accept, she said softly. She grabbed her coat. Come on, I'm buying. I grabbed my coffee and followed her out the door. System, Player J and Player 0 are now in a party. Status, offline.
Thanks for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for new stories every week. Tell me, do you want apocalypse, LitRPG, revenge, or more romance? Comment now. I might pin your idea.